Hi, my name is Anne. I am the founder of Coaching Coins. I'm a firm believer in doing what you love, loving what you do, and paying it forward. Hence, I'm here today to share 2 cents I learned in life and inspire you. Today's topic is special to my heart because I help to take care of my parents. Hence, I also help to take care of their mortgage in the past 4 years. Every year that I get a letter from the Harris County Appraisal District regarding the property. There's some years I go and protest, there's some years I don't. For this year, I decided to do it because their house has incurred some damages from Hurricane Harvey. Hence, the appraised value is not reflective of the true, in my opinion, of their market value if I decide to sell the house today, which I'm not. With that, in the next few minutes, I'm just gonna go through some steps that you should consider and how I have and share some tricks with you on how I have helped to cut their property value by $10,000 after the protest, and some things I've learned from the informal hearing. With that, I'll go ahead and start it with you want to start thinking about, do you truly have the time to actually go and protest? It is somewhat time consuming to prepare the evidence. It would take me about 2 days to, truthfully, 2 to 4 hours to really gather the materials and comparing the data, and then actually go in person and talk to an appraiser as an informal hearing. And if for some reason you don't agree with their final proposal, then you have a choice to go to a formal board hearing, which comprises of about 2 to 3 panelists. Most of them are homeowners, and present your case there. So the process can take quite a bit of your time if time is a constraint for you. And I mean, it is a constraint for everybody, but if your work is flexible or not. There are agencies out there that helps to protest your house for you, but they, with a fee, of course, nothing in life is free. It could be a fixed amount, could be $200 or $300, or some companies charge 30% to 50% of the amount of money saved on property tax. So if they're able to save you $1,000 on property tax, then they'll take about $500 from, or asking you to send them a check for $500. With my parents, both of them are retired, so we don't have that kind of money to split around, so I had to ask for off and go, and that's just the best decision for me and my family. So with that, think about that and look into the various resources that you may have. So number 2, check the data, making sure that they have the right configuration, the right comparisons in terms of the number of rooms, bedrooms, bathrooms, the yard size. Sometimes there might be glitches, technical mistakes do happen. So just double check to make sure that they have the correct comparison for your house. Third is really, this is where it takes the longest time for me, is getting the comps, meaning trying to look up comparable data. I use Realtor.com. I find that very helpful. I also use Zillow and HAR just to look at current houses that are on sale right now that have similar similar homes to my parents' house right now. And with that, I kind of see how much are they selling price. Since I'm not a realtor, it's hard to really get a how much a house was worth or being sold previous year. I found Realtor.com to be the best website that kind of give you can put in the zip code and it tells you the estimated price of that house that was sold. So I find that pretty helpful. From an informal hearing, what I found out is that they use 3 to 4 houses that was sold in the last year, and they compare that to your current your current home, so which is my parents' home. Something to keep in mind is that some of these appraisers, they may not look at, it's really 3 to 4, and depends on how many homes in your subdivision. It could be biased. It could pick like the highest selling value and not the lowest. So when I went to the informal hearing, she was able to initially she only willing to cut down $5,000, but I presented some of the houses I found on Zillow, HAR, and Realtor.com that was sold for or the listing price is on a much lower end. Hence, she took that into account, and then she also kind of went into her data and looked at the houses that was sold, and she agreed that it was there were some houses that were selling for much lower price. And I also mentioned that, you know, take pictures if there's any damages in the house, which I did from my parents. And one big thing is get the quotes that was estimated for the house damages, because they would take that into account and cut in those price value. So those are two of the important things. From what I learned through the informal hearing is that honestly, even though I spent a lot of time on the comparable data and trying to look at the market and sell-in price, she didn't really take into account that much. She actually looked at more of the pictures I took of the house, the damages, and the quotes that I brought to present that it would cost this much to fix this ceiling or fix this roof. And she used that as an estimate for her to decrease the price. So keep in mind, if there's any damages, make sure you get a person to come in and give you a quote and get that to present to the appraiser. They tend to listen to you more. That's also my lessons learned. Next time I'll probably gonna spend more time trying to get quotes for everything, and not just, you know, like 2 or 3 things. So that would be really important to consider. And then if you do agree at the very end of the meeting to have the final quote price, then you would sign off, and then that's it, and your new price or your new property value is reflected. If you disagree, then you have then options to go to the formal board review, which can take up to 2 weeks or longer to arrange for a formal board review, which they may or may not agree with what you presented. So the your property value may be higher or lower. From what she was telling me, that those panelists tend to be homeowners, so they may be more sympathetic than the appraisers, because the appraisers are bound by their whatever data they have at their office, and they may not know or take into account of everything. So with that, I was able to successfully decrease my parents' property value by $10,000 and help them with their property tax this year. I hope that was helpful to you. If you find this information helpful, please share and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, adios.